So every day from that point on, man, I've always focused on just gratitude and growth. It's like every day I'm going to be grateful for what I have, and I'm going to grow like, tomorrow's not coming. And so every day has been Wednesday since then, bro. Yes, you're already winning, because I feel like, if we woke up, God's not done with us yet, but I truly believe sometimes when we shift our perspective, he's just getting started.
Wow, shift our perspective. Yeah.
Most of the people, man, like if I didn't help them, like there were people that I sold a life insurance policy to and then they died. Like I was almost like, whoa, I get to see firsthand the impact.
And so this is why you went to 75 funerals. This was death benefits.
Right, because most of the clients I had were older.
And you were showing up with that check.
With the check.
Come on, man.
So that'll, yeah, dude.
If something doesn't make you believe in life insurance, showing up with the check.
Bro,
I mean,
and people are always like, man, I got enough. And I always used to kid around. Like, no widow ever said, like, hey, man.
You went from just selling life insurance, which has its value in and of itself. Then you did full financial planning for folks, right?
What's cool about this is that as I started learning more, I started earning more, obviously, right?
Learn more to earn more.
Right.
All right, guys, welcome to Success on Repeat. All right, guys, welcome to Success on Repeat. Thanks for being here. We're very excited today. We're actually on site at the JW Marriott downtown Tampa, over right on the water on the Hillsborough River, just living a beautiful life right now. And I am welcoming here in our little makeshift studio a very special guest, Francesco, goes by Chesco. Welcome, man. How are you doing?
Hey, man, busy and blessed. Excited to be here. Beautiful day in Tampa Bay.
It is, man. I'll tell you what, we can't get any more blessed, right?
Come on, man.
So the first thing I want to talk about your catchphrase is Wednesday, right?
Okay, yeah.
And then I love the fact that your catchphrase is Wednesday. I think it's very inspiring. I think also the calls that you do on Zoom are very inspiring. So why don't you tell me just a little bit about Wednesday so that way our viewers can kind of get an idea of what the basis of that is and where that comes from.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me, taking the opportunity to sit down with you, bro. I think it's going to add a lot of value to the people listening.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to chat with you, bro.
Yeah, you too, man.
It feels like we're always in rooms and always staying attentive in these masterminds in different places, but getting a minute to have a conversation with you, bro, is dope.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, man, Wednesday, bro. Every day is Wednesday, man, if you spell it right,
That's right. That's right.
I think for me, going back to about 2017, I won't go too heavy into my whole life story, but I'll say 2017 was a tough time for me. Ended up going through a divorce process, single dad, just lost everything twice in like 9 months. And went through a really, really, really challenging time, which caused me to question God. Went through those moments where I felt like I was all alone, didn't have anybody. My marriage that I was actually in at the time, a lot of the friends that I had, they all stayed with her, let's say. I wanted to exit that lifestyle that everybody had, and really got to a point where it was at my lowest point. And not to get too crazy and graphic, but man, it was July 24, 2017. Put a 9mm in my mouth, bro. Got to the point where I pulled the trigger and nothing happened. By the grace of God, I forgot to cock it back. But even in that moment, I was like, man, why didn't I actually, before I could think anymore, I actually cocked it back. I went ahead, put it back in my mouth, went to pull the trigger, and my daughters were at the door in that moment. If there was any moment in my life that I ever felt like I heard God speaking to me, it was in that moment saying that you're literally about to throw away things that people pray for and never receive.
Wow. Yeah.
So a level of gratitude just overwhelmed my whole body, and everything, every cell in my body felt like just jumped for a minute, right? And it was because of the boom, boom, boom on the door instead of the boom from the gun in my mouth. And it was crazy. I let them in. They ran upstairs. I sat there for a few minutes, and I just started feeling like I had a second chance at life.
You did have a second chance at life.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, quite literally, right?
Yeah. So every day from that point on, man, I've always focused on just gratitude and growth. It's like every day I'm going to be grateful for what I have, and I'm going to grow like, tomorrow's not coming. And so every day has been Wednesday since then, bro.
So Wednesday spelled W-I-N, right?
Yeah, if you woke up, you're winning.
If you woke up, you're winning. So where does the woke up, you're winning come from?
So it's pretty much just, I'm big energy in the morning, man. And it's like being able to wake up out of bed and really understanding that we're so blessed. I look at an app every morning. It's called worldmeter.info. And it shows how many people are actually pass away and the clock's ticking. Like you could go on there.
So while you were sleeping, you can see how many people passed away while you were sleeping.
Facts. And not even only that, you see it ticking throughout the day. So by the end of the day, it'll show over 150,000 people, usually on average, don't get the chance to make it through the day.
So 24 hours a day, like 150 people?
150,000.
150,000 people
man.
worldwide
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah.
So they didn't win that day. They didn't wake up. So what you're saying is you wake up, you're winning.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yes, you're already winning, because I feel like, if we woke up, God's not done with us yet, but I truly believe sometimes when we shift our perspective, he's just getting started.
Wow, shift our perspective. Yeah. Okay, so then obviously that 2017, this story you're telling me is a rough patch in your life, right?
Right.
But it hasn't always been that way, and it won't always be that way, right? Mm-hmm. It was this moment, and I think
that's a fact.
What happens to people is they have permanent solutions for temporary problems.
Come on.
And so, obviously taking your life is a permanent solution for temporary problems. I mean, is there any problem that you've ever had in your life up to this point that didn't pass at some point, right?
We're here right now.
Right.
We're undefeated.
So there's a Bible verse that says, this too shall pass.
Facts.
Right? Now, unfortunately, it works both ways, right? If you're having a great time, don't worry, this too shall pass.
Everything's temporary.
It's like, when your ads are working, don't worry, this too shall pass.
That's a fact.
Right? But also, if things are going poorly, which I think is most of the time when people are trying to get out of a circumstance, that's when this too shall pass is comforting, because this too shall pass. All right, so you today, even to this day, you help people with their finances. Now, in the past, and even probably to this day, you've helped people with their finances through coaching them on financial services. Am I correct in assuming that? So tell me about your experience in financial services and what you've done for people. And then I know that that's starting to kind of morph into something new. And I want to hear about how, what direction that's going, how that's working.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So it was 2013, lost a friend of mine. 2014, lost a friend of mine. 2015, my grandmother passed away, and my ex-wife's grandmother passed away all in the same year, right? So I experienced a lot of death. People that don't, what they say, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, right?
Fail to plan, plan to fail.
Fact. So ultimately, when I noticed all of these things occurring, I saw first and foremost my friends passing away, and we had to literally raise money. So I got into the life insurance industry, right?
Meaning, like we see this all the time. Somebody passes away and now somebody has like a GoFundMe page.
Correct.
Because they didn't have their self set up in a way that their family members who depend on their finances were able to continue on from there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So, I mean, it's like everybody's kind of acting like death is something that happens to everybody else but them.
Facts.
And what's crazy is that I realized that, man, there were so many times that just $10 a month, $20 a month, was doing the one thing that we're supposed to do. I mean, in the Bible, it says that we're not taking our care of our family.
Right.
I mean, then it's almost worse than denying the faith. Like
I remember being a young man and some older guy, and I say older because when I was younger, everybody was older.
Right.
Knew that I had, a wife and kids, because I got married 2 weeks after my 21st birthday, right? So I was young. But I remember him saying to me, and I thought this was very abrasive, and I don't necessarily recommend this as the sales process for insurance salesmen, life insurance salesmen. But he was basically saying, so you obviously don't care about anybody, right? And I'm like, what do you mean? He says, well, you said you don't have life insurance. He says, there's nobody in your life that you care enough about to where, you're willing to fork out, like you said, $20 a month or $50 a month in order to make sure that they're okay in case you were taken. I was like, man, I got a wife, I got a kid. I found a different insurance salesman because I didn't like his process, so to speak.
Yeah,
but the fact was that woke me up to the idea that, like, if I were to pass away today, right, are things set up in a manner to where my family would be taken care of? And I say 99.99% of people, the answer is no. They're not self-insured in the way that they have, a full financial plan already set up. They've got, all their ducks in a row. They've got cash flowing assets that are passively managed, and all, like 99.999% of people are not in that position, right? And so most people, that life insurance will come in a big way because it'll offset debts. It'll do all kinds of things, pay for kids' college, you name it. Whatever the things are that we're thinking that our income is supposed to be going towards paying for, takes care of or whatever, which I'm sure, I'm preaching to the choir, obviously.
No, absolutely, man. I actually carried around a document for the people that said that, hey, man, I don't need that right now. I would say, hey, we'll fill out this form that goes and shows that, hey, when something happens to you, because something will, so when, not if, when something happens to you and your family calls me, that I'm not accountable for, taking care of them, and that you're okay, that it's worth it to you to actually put, $20, $30, $40 a month in your pocket, then to make sure that they're safe when you die.
Yeah.
So just sign that, right? So, I would carry around that form, and I literally had people actually sign it, or I would look at the spouse.
You'd have people sign it?
Yeah, it was crazy, bro. And I don't know if they're still married after I left, but I think that, I would look at the spouse and I would look at the wives and I would say, okay, cool. He's dead. What happens?
Yeah.
He's dead. What happens? Really, like tomorrow, like, and then I would tell them stories about my friends and stuff that happened.
Yeah.
And it is what it is, right? Some people have to experience pain in order for them to see change.
Sure.
And unfortunately, some of these things that happen, you can't go back and replay, and you don't get a second chance at doing this thing called life. So
no, you don't. All right, so you sold life insurance, it sounds like, for how long?
Yeah, I did that for about 3-4 years.
And was it predominantly life insurance, or were you doing full financial planning?
It was all life insurance for about 3 or 4 years. Then I went to about 75 funerals, bro. It was crazy.
Say what?
75 funerals.
Why would you go to 75 funerals?
So I was actually selling insurance for a Catholic organization, right?
Okay.
Called the Knights of Columbus.
I'm familiar with the Knights of Columbus. I've heard of the Knights of Columbus, I should say. I'm not familiar necessarily.
So basically, they were founded in 1882 to be able to protect widows and orphans.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, let's build a life insurance company, and we'll go ahead and take the proceeds and we'll put the money in charity. Right. So I was taught on how to take the proceeds for the life insurance and sell it through that process too for the members of the organization. But my demographic for the people that I was helping was probably like close to like 75, 80 years old. Because these were all retirees saying, hey,
so this is like final expense insurance.
Yeah, final expense. And mostly. I was doing like some annuities and stuff like that too. But most of the people, man, like if I didn't help them, like there were people that I sold a life insurance policy to and then they died. Like I was almost like, whoa, I get to see firsthand the impact.
And so this is why you went to 75 funerals. This was death benefits.
Right, because most of the clients I had were older.
And you were showing up with that check.
With the check. With the
Come
check.
on, man.
So that'll, dude,
if something doesn't make you believe in life insurance, showing up with the check.
Bro, and people are always like, man, I got enough. And I always used to kid around. Like, no widow ever said like, hey man, you 500,000, I'll just take 400.
Yeah,
just keep the 100.
Here's your tip. Thanks for showing up.
there's never an amount which was too much. So I'm always saying, hey, you could always use more. And then I started learning. I got a CFP as a mentor, which is a certified financial planner.
Got it.
Which takes a ton of work to learn. I learned advanced markets, which means that how to leverage insurance not only just for when something happens, but actually how you can use it when you're living.
Right.
So building banking systems, doing index universal life policies to build tax-free retirement streams.
Yeah.
Estate taxes. If anybody passes away more than $6 million right now, there's actually an additional estate tax depending on the state that you live in. So if you live in a place like California and you passed away, not only is the money going to go to the IRS, then a portion is going to go to estate taxes.
Yeah. My advice to you, don't live in California.
Yeah. and so then I started looking and I was like, wow, you can really insure your IRA. You can insure your 401k. Let me teach people how to leverage what they have right now to pay lower taxes.
Yeah.
So then I got a great education on that and would actually help people eliminate the taxes out of their investments, because studies are showing, we've given out so much money. 40% of every single dollar that's in the United States was given out in the last 5 years. So when you think about inflation, right?
Wow.
When people think about inflation, you really take a look at that and you're like, well, if 40% of the money that's out here were just printed and given out, what's the dollar really worth? And how much inflation will
that's why everything's so expensive.
Right, exactly. Because it's kind of like, you know what, this dollar is not worth anything.
Yeah. So then you have a hedge for inflation as well built into those products.
100%. And so studies have shown through even the comptroller of the federal government, it's kind of like the CPA for the IRS, right? He said basically taxes are going to end up having to double in the next 10 years in order for us to just stop the interest on the debt.
But I thought taxes were just the illusion that we're funding the government, because they are just printing money to fund the government.
For sure. So who knows what the heck's going to happen? But I will tell you this: taxes probably won't go down.
I don't think they're going down. I will. Saves. If Jesus comes back, which that's not a financial plan, by the way, because because there's 88 reasons why Jesus is coming back in 1988. There's a lot of people that were like, you know what, I'm gonna rack up high credit card debt and lots of loans and pull out, all the money out of my house and everything, and then go spend it on frivolous things. Surely there's a way to do those things and actually leverage, cash flowing assets. However, there are people that were doing that, thinking, oh, the rapture is going to happen in, a year or whatever. So I'll be good. Don't worry. I have some faith too, by the way. You know what? Kudos to those people and their faith. Praise God. I tell you what, you know what I mean? But they just got to get better at reading, because I think the Bible might, have something to say about that.
Yeah, it's like our mentor Myron Golden says a lot. Like, people read the Bible, then do the opposite. It's like, you may want to read the Bible and do what's in there. It's not just a newspaper to read. And,
right. Exactly right.
Yeah. That's
okay. So you've gone through, you went through just selling life insurance, which has its value in and of itself. Then you did full financial planning for folks, right? And now, I've met you, more recently in the last year or two, and it seems like you are focused on helping entrepreneurs build out systems for their whole business. So I'm trying to figure out,
Yeah. So check it out. So what's cool about this is that as I started learning more, I started earning more, obviously, right?
Learn more to earn more.
Right. So I got into a situation where I was doing one-to-many sales. And I started realizing, like, hey, man, I can start doing these dinner seminar things I see people doing. So I started packing up Ruth Chris and Fleming Steakhouses, right, and teaching people how to lower their taxes and get to the 0% tax bracket in retirement. I would set them with trust. I would set them up with a trust. I always said I use the trust to build trust, because it was like the first thing that I would actually show everybody.
Sure.
Then we would kind of go into their financial plan, lower their taxes, and then we would set up their long-term care. So then that way they leave a tax-free legacy, as well as having, tax-free income streams.
Wow. Okay.
So we would do that, and I would actually set up, presentations at fine dining restaurants and have them come back to my office and so forth. The problem I was realizing, though, is I was doing a lot of events, but I wasn't closing as many deals as I felt like I probably should have, because I was so much focused on who's next. So I want to stop you there. So prior to that, you were selling one-on-one mostly. Correct.
So were you like buying leads and making calls, or were you, just networking and marketing that way to find one-on-one people that you could sell to?
Yeah, I hated it though.
But that's what you were doing.
Yeah, but I started working on my communication skills, started doing public speaking, and I got a mentor that hit me up, and he was doing really well in the industry as far as doing events. Yeah. He didn't do the financial planning, but he did solar, he did walk-in bathtubs, he did stage selling. Okay. So he was a trainer for doing stage selling.
And so this is where you got the idea to take what he was doing and apply it to your industry.
Yeah, he actually invested in me. He was like, "Hey, man, you got some game, man. If we can fix you up, man, and put you in front of some people, let's go ahead and do that, and I'll take a percentage." So he invested into me. I was like, "Let's go." I was like, "Come on now, let's go." So he gave me a lot of game, man. He coached me and trimmed me and put me in places and I had a lot of insecurity, because I was talking to a lot of people that had a ton more money than I did, a whole bunch of more money than I did. And I mean, it was incredible. So I had to look at people and have to eliminate I want to impress you. Yeah. To expressing the information and why that was important. So I learned so many different psychological ways to just at least get them to my office. Yeah. And then I could start building a relationship, and then I would find out if I can add some value and so forth. Right. But I was so focused on the next event. I love speaking. I love talking, right? Yeah, so it's like I get into the office one-on-one. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm doing a great job fact finding. I know how to explore needs. I used to actually be a sales trainer for a corporate eyeglass company called VisionWorks. I was a district manager there. Yeah. So I learned a lot about like the sales process. So I was exploring needs and voicing recommendations pretty well. Yeah. But it wasn't what I was excited about. And
it's funny that you say that. So you and I were talking, this is in a off-camera conversation earlier, and it reminded me of working in the gym. So you were working at VisionWorks, I was working in health clubs for a big corporate chain. Mm-hmm. And the sales training that I received there, man, I will tell you what, it was like I was getting waterboarded like every day with sales training, right? And at the time I hated it. Yeah, man. But today I'm like, man, that stuff just comes back to me. Like I could sit down with somebody today and sell them a gym membership. You know what I mean? I can walk them through a needs analysis, and then make those recommendations, just like you said on the eyeglasses, walk them through the needs analysis, and then make the recommendations. And it's just same process of allowing somebody to sell themselves through just asking them questions, you know what I mean? And essentially this is kind of the same thing you do from the stage, right?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, you're taking them through a journey of connecting with them, celebrating them, drawing a lot of emotion out of them, exploring the needs, getting data, and then sitting down with them. And now I know everything, you know, everything I need to do to help them,
right?
Or help them help themselves.
Make a personalized recommendation. Yeah,
100%. And I think what was huge there is what we were talking about also is that I really just undermined those types of things, thinking that when I left, when I went completely independent, because I made that transition from working for a company as an insurance agent to going completely independent, and I was kind of lost. And I got that mentor, but I realized that in entrepreneurship, I thought it was like this place where everything's different, but it was actually a place where I could apply all the knowledge that I have learned. And it was like, oh my gosh. And now that I'm learning with my business partner, she's actually, her mentor was executive at Coca-Cola, and she's got her degree, and she went the educational route. I'm more of the like hands-on sales experience guy. So we come together, and she's taught me the importance of data and market research.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, what is all that nonsense? I didn't even know what a client acquisition cost was or a proof of concept. I didn't know none of those terms. I just knew explore needs, sell. Explore needs, sell.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And so it got to the point where I was like, man, I'm spending a lot of money to acquire a new client, but they're not really sticking. I'm spending more money. And in the financial industry, you got underwriting. So if you sell life insurance, you got to wait until they're underwritten.
Yep.
Then if you're selling any type of like investment products, they has to be rolled over. So there's suitability with the government that says, hey, is this ethically right? Is he taking money out of an investment, putting it somewhere else that's in their best interest?
Right.
So I didn't really get paid right away. Right. Yeah. So it's not like how we create an offer, sell an offer, and we can get paid that same day.
That's right.
You know, it was having to wait a long process. So I was putting out so much money that it wasn't coming back fast enough. And I was like, what's going on? Well, I wasn't focused on my system. I didn't have a system. I was literally just putting people on an Excel spreadsheet, and it was like check marks, you know, did I sell? Didn't sell. Sell, didn't sell. And it's like, all right, on to the next ones. And I have this long list of people that I didn't even know any data on. I didn't know was it something I did wrong? Was it something they wanted differently? I knew nothing. So I was just running the same play over and over and over again, not knowing that, man, if I could have made some minor adjustments, not only would I maybe have converted more people to see me because I had the data to research, or I would have been able to at least continue to add value to these people to show them that they could trust me, because they maybe just have met me one time, fed them a nice steak dinner, and what do they want to get married? No, you know, you got to date before you get married.
That's right.
So, you know, loving on the people, like my business partner says all the time, is really the way of adding that value and just generating that trust. So we built a systems company.
So first you implemented systems.
The financial company.
Got it. So you, in other words, you started implementing the systems within your business, and tell me, like, give me an example. Was it software as a system that you implemented? What did you implement that then took that to the next level?
Yeah, we white labeled Go High Level.
Okay, so you took a software that's like a CRM, a website builder, automation tool for, you know, autoresponder on email, membership site, affiliates.
Yep.
I mean, we're talking the soup to nuts. Like, take an entrepreneur that sells anything, and you've got the systems in place for them to market it and then manage it.
Yep.
I mean that's obviously pretty good. So
and then there was a learning curve there.
Now, I think, well, I can tell you this from experience, and maybe you can speak to this. You know, sometimes you get software like High Level, and you get it and you're ready to start building it out and you get all excited, but you get bogged down in the details, right? So I think that may be where experience comes in, or finding somebody that already has the experience to set it up, right? Not necessarily done for you completely, but a done for you process where they can help you, guide you through that process to show you what are the pros and cons of doing things certain ways in the software. Because one of the things I know from selling point of sale systems, right? Obviously we sell POS systems, payment processing, all that, is that there are softwares out there that are very simple, and they're designed for somebody to take out of the box and use right away. They could plug it in themselves, they could set it up themselves, and they could start selling products and stuff themselves very simply. And those products are great when it's somebody clicked and bought it online, we shipped it to them, and then they are then off to the races on their own. But they're very simple, and simple means limited. And so if it's simple, it's not going to be sophisticated, because sophisticated equals complicated. It's intrinsic, it's built in.
For sure.
And so when something is sophisticated, like the softwares you're referring to, it can be complicated. it'll do all kinds of awesome things, but you got to get it to do basic things first so that you can get up and running, and then you add and you add and you add. And so tell me about kind of your process. Somebody comes in and they want to start, working on their systems in their business to start, managing their processes and build out their SOPs and whatnot for that. How would you, walk somebody through that?
Yeah, so we do have a lot of like onboarding intake forms, and really kind of finding out exactly where their awareness level is. I think that's huge. A lot of people in entrepreneurship, man, they'll just take, sometimes in the beginning, right? They'll just take the next sale, not even knowing if that person's qualified, not even know if that's something you want to work with. Just because somebody has money doesn't mean you really want them as a client.
Sure.
So you really want
Although that helps.
It does help.
I like the ones that like to pay.
For sure, because they like to pay attention, right?
That's right.
But I do believe that you have to know exactly who you're helping. And that's huge, man, because if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. And, if I were to say, hey, I build systems out for entrepreneurs, what type of entrepreneurs? How much money do those entrepreneurs make? How much do they want to make? Are they people that are attractive characters? Are they people that want to do, they want to focus on personal branding? Is it service based? Is it product based?
Yeah.
There's so many different ways. And I started not in a structured manner. I was just like, I got the CRM and I want to help small business owners.
Yeah.
And it's like, because that helped me. Just like, well, wait a minute, who am I? Who did I help? And so forth. So I started building out a platform that would help financial advisors become more organized and so forth. But it really didn't excite me. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
It didn't excite me, man. And what excited me was service-based entrepreneurs that take their skill sets and their gifts and their talents and they actually bring it to the marketplace. So something that, you went through a couple of years ago that you faced and you were going through a challenge and now you know how to solve it.
Right.
And you feel passionate about it because when you had that problem, you give anything to get out of it. So it's like helping people be able to kind of craft and convey the messages that they have, but be their support system. So it's kind of like, not do we just take and build a system for somebody, but there's a lot of consulting on helping the psychology. We're a big fan of Russell Brunson, right?
Oh, yeah.
Expert Secrets.
Yeah.
So everything in that book, from finding your voice to building your tribe, to how you actually build out, workshops and webinars, the challenges, the speaking events, like we want to help people pretty much. Our niche is this. We help service-based entrepreneurs kind of build out a digital product. That way, they have something selling while they're sleeping.
So service-based, like in my industry, in payment processing, I think of service-based business, especially like field service, like home services businesses. So electricians, plumbers, HVAC repair and service. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, we can do that. Sure. I think the biggest thing is helping those people build some type of digital asset that'll produce income. Right, so building out a course, informational product.
Okay, products.
So educating your clients to become the client that you want to have later.
Well, that's essentially what you did in person at a steakhouse. Mm-hmm. And so you're saying, take that, and even though what you were doing was compared to what you were previously doing one to many, now you raise that up into the cloud, so to speak, put it online. Mm-hmm. Now it goes from one to several to really truly one to many.
Sure.
Because now, and it's an individual experience for each one of those people and not necessarily a group experience. Because I don't know about you, but when you are in a public setting like that, if you got a negative Nancy or somebody, right, they can kill the whole room. Now you've got a curated experience for single individuals because it's your product and it's usually just them. They're usually consuming it from, their 7-inch screen, right, their phone or 6-inch screen, whatever it is, or they're doing it from their, their computer at home. Or I don't know about y'all, but like I watch YouTube on the TV now, from their, their television at home, that they're able to then consume that product or that content and everything. And you're speaking directly to them and you're not having to worry about the negative Nancy's, so to speak. And then as they do that, you're walking them down a process that you're saying that your systems that you put in place help walk them through that funnel without you actually having to personally interact with them until the right time.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Our onboarding process, after we qualify somebody and find out exactly if that's somebody we want to work with, we'll usually take them through the basics and we find out where their awareness level is first, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to teach them, either them or somebody that's on their team or an assistant. Like right off the gates, do we teach the whole, you got to let go if you want to grow.
Yeah.
So it's like teaching entrepreneurs through the process. Hey man, if you want to really elevate, you got to delegate.
Yeah.
So then you want to automate.
Yeah.
And then you want to not participate.
That's that whole who, not how.
Keep going, right? Yeah.
My brother and I keep having this conversation and we're like, that's a who problem,
Who can do this?
Yeah, because, just like everything else, as entrepreneurs, we're so used to being one-man shows, right? Or they call the solopreneur.
Yep.
That we want to do it all, and it's just not. It's first off, it's not the fastest way to grow, but it's also not the most efficient or stress-free way to grow. Right? I mean, there's better ways to do it, and like you're saying,
you're doing. Not only are you a solopreneur, you're a solopreneur doing one-on-ones.
Yeah.
How many one-on-ones can you do?
Yeah, you only have so much time.
Right, and then you want to raise your price, but you don't even know if that you can add that much value to raise that price. Right. But then again, sometimes raising the price is pretty much a flag of saying, hey, this is the person I want to help.
Yeah.
So not only is it
and for a salesperson so let's go back to what you were saying, because when I think of success on repeat, right, I always try to bring everything back to how can I do two things. Number one, how can I repeat the success that others have had, right? How can I make the success that I have had better? And how can I have continued success in everything that I decide to take on, right? So there's kind of multiple facets of it. But when I think of what you were doing, right, you had success in selling life insurance, right? And then and that was a one-to-one process. And so I think of it like a spiral staircase, that you're coming around full circle, but that the spiral staircase is going upward. And so then as you go, you switch to the one to several, right? With your sales process, having small events at restaurants, restaurants that people would want to go to. Right. Everyone wants to steak dinner.
Right.
I like steak dinners.
Right.
And then as you continue up that staircase, now you've figured out that, hey, look, I can layer on top of the skills that I've already created and the success that I've already had, another layer now, and use that one to several process on a one to many, because we can now take that and do it online. What's the key that unlocks that? Well, it's these systems and processes that you have to put in place.
Oh, yeah, bro.
Because what that does is what I would naturally do with you one to one or one to several, because I'm able to feed off of your energy. Now I can do through automation processes, email automation, and other things, so on and so forth, that you place into the software that now make it so that sales process doesn't let things slip through the cracks. Because on the one to many, that's the trouble, right?
Yeah,
you can't be in each of those situations. So then what can you do from a systems and processes standpoint to then make sure that nothing slips through those cracks,
Yeah, I think the biggest thing in the beginning with anybody we work with, there's a to-do list and a not to-do list.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like...
That's good, not to-do list.
Yeah, so the first thing we do is say, what's the things that you don't want to do anymore, or the things that you got to stop doing in order for you to grow?
Yeah.
Well, I tell them all, I'm like, well, you have to do it one more time. Sorry, man, one more time. But you do it at the best of your ability, and we create an SOP out of that.
That's right.
So now if we automate something, we're automating the best practice.
Yeah.
Too many entrepreneurs want to just give it away before even teaching.
Yeah, man.
They turn into preachers and not teachers. So I think ultimately getting your people, you want to have something that you can hold accountability to. I mean, clear expectations really change situations.
Yeah.
I really believe that clear expectations are the way. You can't really expect something from somebody that you can't show them,
Right.
And so we like to tell people, hey, let's go ahead and have you model exactly nothing's perfect, but perfection to the best of its ability in your eyes for your company would look like. So if you're going to be expecting somebody to make a sales call, go ahead and make one more sales call. Let's go ahead and record that.
Yeah.
And then we can go ahead and, hold somebody else accountable to it.
Sure.
Or we can even use some of these, chatbots and different types of things now by using AI to actually automate the process and lower your expenses. So not only are you like killing yourself on expenses by you doing the work, but you're killing your time, and who can you do that? You can't usually do the same thing again over and over and over and over again and model perfection.
Yep. Right. Well, and there's a truth behind like people having to own it. So I think of like scripts. I learned a bunch of scripts for sales over time, but every script that I had became more of a framework than it became a script. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's also within the entrepreneur world. People talk about frameworks all the time. And the reason they talk about frameworks is because you're not going to do it exactly to a T, exactly how somebody else did it, because it's going to be fitting in within your brand, within your process, and whatever. And so that, a script is a lot like that.
That's how you create culture too, right?
Oh,
so you can go ahead 100%. And model the culture that you want,
right,
and don't have to worry about the person that's training it.
Right. But the framework stays the same because principle meaning first, right? First things, principles they work all the time in every situation. And so the principles of the framework don't change.
Right.
And that's like like you were talking about Russell Brunson telling, like, say, an epiphany bridge story to somebody.
Yeah.
My epiphany bridge story is way different than your epiphany bridge story, but it's still an epiphany bridge story.
100%.
We're still taking somebody on a journey where
good.
I was in this position. This was the light bulb that I had that got me over the bridge, which is the chasm from where you were to where you want to be,
bro.
right? It's that,
So
that. And so,
good,
again,
bro.
that's the framework, that's the principle. But again, to a T, it wouldn't be the same, and I think you get the idea. So, all right, so we've covered a lot.
No, and I got to say something. I think this would add a lot of value is like asking people what's their framework.
Yeah.
Right. Asking them, what is your framework? Because like for me, I have a framework to my life that I apply in anything that I do. And
tell me this framework.
Yeah, man.
Do
you want to know? No.
Yeah.
It's take ownership, take action, take off.
Okay. Take ownership, take action, take off. I got it.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you think about that, ownership meaning accountability, a lot of it has to do with forgiveness.
Yes.
Right? A lot of it has to do with, hey, forgiving yourself for all the stuff that's happened and taking ownership for everything going forward.
Well, and if you don't take ownership, you can't receive forgiveness, and you'll just continue to run from it. And if you're running, that's a whole other deal. Yeah.
Right. So then it's like once you actually take ownership, you kind of cleaned your slate.
Right.
You're being honest with yourself. You look in the mirror and said, you know what, I can do better. I need to make these changes.
Sure.
And then you take action. Right. So taking action is sometimes a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
So I like to say, if you're not making any mistakes, you're not making anything happen.
Yeah.
So you have to take action or nothing even happens.
Right.
So, and consistency and celebration. So it's really just celebrating all the small wins and then staying consistent will allow you to take off.
Yeah.
So it's like we take that framework to everything that we do and we really even apply it with the people that we're working with.
Do you realize that framework that you just described is essentially, because remember, principles are always true, is the same principles as B do have. So B, all the language that you just gave was ownership, was identity language.
Do the work, take action.
Do, action, have, right? Take off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
take off for entrepreneurs can be taking off time.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Now you can walk away from everything and it's still running.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
All right. So I want to wrap up. I want to talk the last thing. I want to go baback to what we started with Wednesday and adjusting your focus. Because I know that you talk a lot about adjust your focus.
Yeah. I'm one of, I don't want to, I don't,
because this is, I want you to tell our viewers, like, because this I feel like is a key to success. So you talked about taking ownership, and we talk about becoming the person.
Oh yeah.
Right. This is a big piece of it. And Wednesday is a catchy catchphrase, but I think that the undergirding of what you've created, at least for me, is positive outlook on the fact that, look, I really am winning. Because there's the positive mindset people that will just be like, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. That old, SNL skit style, fake, look in the mirror and give yourself a mantra that you don't even really believe.
Right.
I think the Wednesday thing, the thing that's cool about Wednesday is the fact that if you woke up, you are winning. 150,000 people didn't wake up.
Yeah.
So just the fact that you woke up means you're winning. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's where, because you talk about, look, I got this from you, so I don't want people to mistake it like.
Let's go, man.
Like,
come on now.
Like I'm stealing your thunder here because I've listened to you enough now to where like adjusting your focus is such a key piece, because a lot of times it's just switching out the lenses. It's funny, we're doing podcasts, we got cameras looking at us and all this stuff.
Come on now.
And one of the things that I've been having discussions with other folks that actually do the camera stuff and all this is the lens matters. Right? No, man, you need something with a lower f-stop. Maybe you get a prime lens, just 50 millimeters. I mean, look.
What are you using?
All of this is what lens are you using?
Come on now.
And so I may have just, hopefully that's a...
No, you're good, bro. You get me fired up, man. I think
bro.
ultimately, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Amen.
Right? And so you can literally choose the lens that you look at life through.
Right.
You get to choose that.
Yep.
Like God woke you up in order for, and God woke you up and is allowing you to see today, but you have the choice to determine what you look at.
Right. That's right.
So you can look at the one thing that you don't have.
That's right.
Or you look at all the amazing things that you do have. And sometimes people don't take a look at anything that they do have until something is gone.
Yeah.
That they can't look at it anymore. So like in these types of moments, you have to ask yourself, what is something I'm neglecting right now? That going back to my moment in 2017, that was what was happening. I was looking at the fact that I was eating cereal for 2 weeks. I was looking at the fact that all my accounts were in overdraft and my credit was shot and I didn't have my marriage anymore. And you're not supposed to get divorced as a Christian. And I was looking at all of the things that like were just causing me to focus on just pain and agony and depression.
Yeah.
So I was able to actually adjust my focus and overcome depression without medication. So like if there's
Praise
any
God,
newly divorced dads that want to overcome depression without medication, just adjust your focus.
Yeah.
And celebrate the wins every day. So when we think about every day being Wednesday,
Yep.
it is because God makes all things new.
That's
so
right.
like you wake up today, you're forgiven. Like
It's literally a new day.
it's a new it's like
literally.
a fresh new start. Like so you could look at it that way if you choose to.
Right. All right, so I'm going to give you guys, to wrap up here, I'm going to give you guys one. This is normally I would charge $19.95 for, but I'm going to give it to y'all
Come on
for free
now.
today.
Got the
all right?
coupon code.
Hey, that's right. Once you get good at adjusting your focus, and we all know all the good cameras have what? They have autofocus,
Let's go.
right? You got to clean up that autofocus because then what happens is you get so good at it that now you can't even believe when people are focused on the wrong things. You know what I'm saying? And that just is what it is. Any last words before we go?
No, man. I think it all boils down to just understanding that today is the gift that God gave us, and what we do with it is our gift back to God.
That's right.
And really understanding, like you said before, everything is temporary.
That's right.
So the good is temporary. Appreciate it. The bad, if you got a bad day, it's still only going to be 24 hours.
That's right.
You feel me? Like,
right.
so if you woke up, you're really winning.
That's right. That's
But,
right.
yeah.
That's
If anybody wants to know anything else about like, Wednesday, you can go to wegotanotherone.com. We got another one, like another day.
WeGotAnotherOne.com.
Yeah,
Is
we got
one
another
spelled
day.
out or is one the number
It's
one?
one spelled out.
O-N-E.
We got another one.
WeGotAnotherOne.com.
And if you're considering as an entrepreneur to generate, or I got something coming up like you. I'm following your lead
Sure.
about the master classes.
Yeah, man.
So we have something coming up. It's how to elevate your master class to generate massive cash.
Talk about.
So being able to give you the system that you feel supported to, go
Right.
out and do your thing,
Right.
plus learning the psychology as well.
Let's go.
You can go to Group of Action Takers. So my company's called the GOAT.
Group of Action Takers.
Group of Action Takers,
Come
right?
on,
so,
bro.
so that's the company. And we used to say we turn note takers into action takers, but lately my mentor has been saying, don't help losers become winners, help winners win more.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're just helping action takers,
Yeah, but I'll tell you, I mean, like, yes, but even those people that are winning are still wish they were taking more action in certain areas than they are. Right?
Sure.
And so.
All right, we're not leaving anybody out. I just know that if we want to go fast, we got to take action, right?
Yeah,
so ultimately, you can go there. And then if anybody is considering, possibly getting life insurance, I do have a free ebook that teaches people how to understand life insurance better than the agent that's coming over to sell it to you.
Nice.
You can go to lifeinsuranceIsEasy.com and pick up that free ebook.
It's free.
So yeah,
It's free, just like that.
It's worth more than that. Trust me.
Got it. All right, awesome.
That's it, man.
Well, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for being here. This has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you, Chesco, coming and spending some time with us. I want to make sure that you subscribe to our channel, like it, do all that stuff, share it, whatever platform that you're watching this on. And what's cool is if you are waking up, you are winning. That is the literal definition of success on repeat. Every day you wake up, you just repeated the success from yesterday, and today might even be better than tomorrow. So bless you guys. Praise God that you're here. I'll see you guys on the next one.